Testing 1, 2. I got one more for you guys. So what's up? Hold on, let me just switch over to the. How you doing, guys? Donnie Rouse here, and you are listening to the One Life. So let's just go right back into it. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. The meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? Have you ever wondered what that meaning might be? I was working on my One Life blueprint, and through other quotes, it was like, the meaning of life is happiness, right? We all, the aim for every person is ultimately to be happy. And as I was going through my blueprint, meaning the visions I have for my life, I came across a quote by Franz Kafka. And I'm going to paraphrase. He actually says something different. He says something along like, the meaning of life is that it stops. I like to rephrase that quote by saying the secret to life is that, or remembering that it ends. So let me say that one more time. The secret to life is remembering that it ends. After I was working on this category in my life, I went out for a run. And on that run, I was so captivated by, I'd never heard that quote before. And it moved me so much that I just kept thinking about it. Like, well, what does that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Like, the secret to life is that it ends. And then it hit me. It made me look at the things that I do every single day and where they are taking me. So before I go further into the story, let me ask you 3 questions. One is, what is the vision? Like, what is the path that you're going down? Secondly, is the investment of your time reaping the dividends you want? Or said differently, is it moving you towards that path, that vision you have for your life? And then the last lesson was that every day is a blessing. Just remember to enjoy it because you don't know when it's going to end. So back to the run. So I wasn't even running. I was on my skateboard. So I'm skateboarding, up Miami Beach, and I kept repeating this quote in my head. I'm like, the secret to life is that it ends, or remembering that it's going to end. I can't remember what I was saying to myself, but same thing. And as I was thinking about this, it made me think about the actions that I am taking. Like, are these actions moving me towards the vision for my life? And if not, like, what do I have to do to recalibrate, to move it in the direction so that I'm heading in the direction of the destination that I want to go? And as with, I can tend to get in my head sometimes a lot, like, as an understatement, like I could lose myself in my head. Where, sometimes, and then all of a sudden something might pop me out. But a lot of time, I could spend a lot of time there. And as I was saying this quote over, it brought me back to the present moment because it's remembering that time is finite, right? Not a single moment is guaranteed. Later that night, I believe I had gone over to my neighbor's for a glass of wine. He invited me over. He said, "Hey, we're watching the sunset. Come over for a glass of wine." And first I was like, I don't know. I got to go back. I got to get work, get ready for the next day. But then I remembered that. And it kind of, I coupled that in my head. I was like, well, you don't regret the things. You regret the things you didn't do, not the things you did. And I thought about my day and the idea of feeling my day and how by just taking those few minutes to go over there, that few minutes end up being like an hour and a half, but going over there just to enjoy and watch the sunset and how much joy that would bring to my life. Again, remembering that time, like life ends and that you want to do something every day to give yourself some enjoyment just for being alive. Now, looking at the vision for your life, now you could have a vision for your life where you know exactly what it is that you want, what you're going for, but still be unhappy with the journey. And it all comes down to where you're putting the focus, because if you're not enjoying the process, then what are you doing it for in the first place? And I'm not talking down to you if that is where you are, because in many cases, I fall into that trap. And I constantly have to pull myself back up, reminding me like, all right, well, what am I, the focus is focusing on what I don't want, focusing on the hardship, focusing on what the hardship is going to take to get wherever I want, rather than focus on what the outcome is and how I'm going to feel once I've gotten there. And I've been conscious about switching this focus because habitually you focus on the pain. That's just how we're built, right? What is it that you're afraid of? What is it that's going to be painful? Let's avoid that at all cost. But by avoiding that, what you're doing is you're avoiding that ideal life. You're avoiding that desire, that grand vision that you have. You're enjoying the growth, the ability to contribute more. So what I started doing was I started seeing whenever I'm doing a task, for instance, like this morning was another case of that. I was working out in the gym and I was just kind of grunting over it. I was like, well, what am I focusing on right now? And what is it that, like, again, I'm working out, and the whole point is, what is my objective? I want to get my body sculpted. I want to feel great. I want to feel loose. I want to feel strong. I want to look it in front of the mirror. I want other people to look at me and be like, damn, he looks good. And by focusing on what it was, then it's like, all right, well, this gives the workout meaning for me to push and exert even more energy here and to break through, to tear those muscles so that they grow. It gives me a reason to do that. And once I aligned with that objective, all of a sudden now pushing through became very, very easy. And then my head, it's funny how it happens where when you were reminded of it, you're all of a sudden the noise in your head just literally ceases. When I was doing my weightlifting competition back in 2017, I remember this happening all the time. I would be sitting on the bench press and I would be doing it and my mind is going crazy. It's screaming at me like, what the hell are you doing? Stop. But then I would remember, and there would be a point where I would break through and I would say, no, I'm going through, and I would complete that next rep or 3. And all of a sudden, right when that happened, the voice stopped. And when I finished that set, it was just a sense of serenity because I was able to break through the noise, realizing focusing on the end point of where I am headed, focusing on that goal of what I want to achieve. And as a result of the completing those workouts, I would often be left euphoric, very tired, extremely tired, but very euphoric because I was able to overcome the pain of the moment to look for what it is that I was really going for. Let's go back to your life. Like the 3 things I said, like what is the path? Where are you headed? Are those actions going to get you there, right? The secret to life is remembering that it's going to end. Like, is the use of your time right now, is that the best use of your time? Is it moving you forward, right? And you may not be in the job you want. You may be in a job that is pure shit and it sucks, right? But if you have meaning behind it, if it is just means to an end, and you know that, and you focus on that, now all of a sudden you've given that job, that stepping stone, you've given it a meaning. It's easy. You can get stuck there and be like, oh, this fucking sucks. I can't stand. I hate my life. You can get and start spiraling down. And I know for myself, and I'm sure this is for most people, you have big desires. You have aspirations. But sometimes you can get lost in the pain of the moment rather than realizing it's just in the moment, and that when you look far out at the journey, this small thing is meaningless. It's just a step in that direction. So again, 1 was knowing where you want to go. 2, realizing if your use of time is giving you the greatest return. And that question's gonna be different for everybody. Some people are like, you know what, I'm not gonna work that much. I'm just gonna go travel for the rest of my life, and I'll backpack and hitchhike, and that's gonna bring me joy. Whatever it is, it's up to you. And then lastly is just remembering that time is finite. Not a single moment is guaranteed, and this is not to be morbid, it's not to be you down, but rather to make you enjoy more of life. To make you say, you know what? I didn't do anything for myself today. Like, what the hell? Like, rather than trying to rush and get ready for the next day, let me do 5 minutes. Let me go. I mean, I could look out the window. Let me just admire the sunset, or maybe let me have that cup of coffee, or maybe let me just read for, I don't have a half an hour, maybe 10 minutes. I could read for 10 minutes. I know it would make me feel so good. Give yourself that. because you deserve it. You don't need you don't need to deserve, you don't need reason to feel good. And when you give to yourself, it's amazing because as you do that, as you do things that bring you joy, all of a sudden it just opens up, the entire world opens up to you. And like you don't even feel like now it becomes effortless. I share this because it's a reminder that I always have to remind myself and look inward, see where I'm focusing, see what meaning I'm giving something. So this way I could change it, because grunting through life is pure shit. Like, you don't want to, especially if you're grunting towards the goal that is supposed to bring you the happiness, the joy. If you're grunting all the way there, then I mean, the journey is the path there is the journey. So if you're miserable the entire time there, then you're missing the point. Take a moment, enjoy the moment. Even if it's a cup of coffee, do something for you. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and it's happening now. Don't put off life for another moment. I hope you guys enjoyed this message, and hope that this quote, or my variation of the quote, resonates and sticks with you, not just for the next 5 minutes, but for the rest of your day, the rest of your weeks, months, years, and life. And I'll say it one more time just to kind of drive it home a little bit further. The secret to life is remembering that it ends. Let that be your litmus test to how you are spending your time and whether or not you are getting the greatest return on it. If you have any comments, questions, you could reach out to me via my website at www.donnyraus.com. That is DONNYRAUS.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of this inspirational life wisdom that I'm throwing at you. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you remember, just remember, you only get one life. Live it. Remember to live fully, live passionately, and most of all, live now. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.